during the drone attack on the oil refinery? Friends, they're going after the oil refineries. Now they're going to start destroying oil refineries in Russia. And it doesn't matter who's destroying them, the Ukrainian armed forces or Russia itself, right? It doesn't matter anymore because basically all these oil refineries need to be, well, destroyed so that Russia runs out of fuel by winter. Do you understand? This truly seems like the policy of some other third country. It absolutely doesn't seem at all like Russian officials would ever make such significant decisions. Or do you truly think that Russian officials could actually make such significant decisions? So, my dear friends, today in Warsaw, it was officially announced that Polish fighter jets flew quite close to a Polish oil and gas exploration platform situated in the Baltic Sea. Just 3 hours ago, the Moscow Times reported that 9 days after Russian drones entered Poland, 2 Russian Air Force fighter jets, not US Air Force but Russian Air Force, flew at low altitude near an oil and gas platform in the Baltic Sea, according to the border guard of the Republic of Poland. The safety zone of the platform was violated. The Polish armed forces and other agencies were notified about this. The Polish border guard described Russia's actions as provocative behavior and noted that the Republic's security services are monitoring the situation regarding critical maritime infrastructure, including areas outside Poland's territorial waters. What's happening in Poland? So, drones again. Drones have appeared. But for now, as you can see, no one is bombing anyone since there hasn't been a green light for a war between Poland and Belarus yet. Do you understand? So we're waiting for the signal. When someone from the little star, or from the moon, or just from the sky, from the heavenly city, or maybe just from the new country of El Dorado, where the real Putins and Trumps live today, gives the go-ahead. Maybe the signal will come from there and they'll tell us. I think maybe they're not participating anymore, but they're already old men. Well, how much longer can this go on? Obviously, they'll live to be 150, there's no doubt about that. I have no doubt, but still someone is giving the signal and they're waiting. People don't decide things on their own. This is how Russia will act, like a little dog, tap, 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 runs up, lifts its leg, pees, lifts its leg, pees a little, right? This is so that when the order comes to strike, both Poland and Russia will have motivation, and from either side, they can throw anything at their neighbor, so to speak, leave it on their doorstep. 2 people died when a school building collapsed in Moscow today. What is this? It's September, we've just started the school year. In eastern Moscow on Znamenka Street, the building of school number 1080, which was under reconstruction, collapsed during the day on September 20th. 2 workers who were carrying out repairs died. According to the Moscow Emergency Ministry, the bodies of the deceased have already been recovered from the rubble. According to a TASS source in the emergency services, another injured person is still trapped under the debris. The emergency ministry clarified that concrete slabs collapsed during the repair work. Well, that's just terrifying. Well, it's simply frightening. How could concrete slabs collapse? Which emergency ministry? This is just a nightmare, isn't it? How can work be carried out like this? The governor of the Samara region announced that 4 people were killed in a drone attack on an oil refinery. Friends, they've started targeting oil refineries. Now they're going to start destroying oil refineries in Russia. And it doesn't matter who's destroying them, the Ukrainian armed forces or Russia itself, right? It doesn't even matter anymore because basically all these refineries need to be, destroyed so that Russia runs out of fuel by winter. Do you understand? This really seems like the policy of some other, perhaps a third country. It truly doesn't look like official Russian government representatives are actually making these significant decisions at all. Or do you think Russian officials could actually make such decisions? To me, it just seems absolutely horrifying. So now they're going to deprive everyone of fuel. All of us, including you, will be left without fuel. That's absolutely right. When I said that you would be deprived of the ability to travel around the country, you wouldn't be able to move from one place to another, people told me, oh, but there are planes. But if there are no planes, when they started targeting planes, basically destroying flights, then listeners started telling me, just get in a car and go. What's the problem? Well, sure, for you there's no problem. Or rather there wasn't. But now each of you will have a problem. Refineries are the essential facilities that produce your vital gasoline, your crucial fuel, your indispensable diesel, And without them, you simply won't have any of these absolutely necessary products. That is to say, in a very short period of time, all the refineries, which are so critical to our daily lives, will be completely destroyed. Just wait, expect it. The assets of a top Gazprom manager who fled Russia have been handed over to a man connected to the Rotenberg brothers for management. Well, what's the deal here? They stayed. They stayed to run the country. No matter what, the entire Lake Cooperative still runs the country. You just haven't heard about it, but they still run things. The Lake Cooperative runs our country. That's why the assets of the former head of Gazprom Energo, Alexei Mityushev, who became a suspect in a fraud case and fled Russia, started to end up in the empire of the brothers Arkady and Boris Rotenberg. But you know, these are some truly tough and formidable brothers. They can certainly knock out a lot of people indeed. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad, friends. I don't know them. I don't care. But I can see that these brothers are like tanks rolling through Russia, steamrolling everyone, grabbing everything for themselves, pulling everything under their control. Of course, they're going to run Russia. The head of the holding company, Roskim, associated with them, Eduard Davidov, has taken over part of the business of the warehouse developer Instant Development, owned by Mityushev. Well, Instant has a portfolio of warehouses with a total area of 1.2 million square meters. These are in Moscow, Kursk, Bryansk, and Krasnodar. Good news, right? Well, wonderful. You know, like news from a foolish town about foolish people. And the people are fools working from morning till dusk. That's a verse from the Khrushchev era. I remember it from my childhood. Mityushev and former Gazprom top manager Kirill Selesnev became defendants this year in several court cases regarding the seizure of warehouses, initiated by the Prosecutor General's Office. In addition to the warehouses, the Prosecutor General's Office also took from Mityushev and nationalized 7 chemical industry enterprises with an estimated value of 31.5 billion rubles. That's how you should live. And you took. There you go, friends. That's how, well, one needs to live. They just pass everything to each other. Yeah, right. And what about Russians during this time? Meanwhile, Russians have started to see goods disappearing from Russian stores. This is reported by the Moscow Times. Russian stores have reduced their product range. In July, the amount of food products decreased by 2.3%. No one will tell you the truth anyway, even if it drops by 50%. The biggest decline was recorded in the segments of alcoholic beverages, children's goods, and facial care products. Well, of course, all of this is necessary, but all of it will keep disappearing. Yes, friends, if you want anything, compresses, lotions, some creams, stock up. Stock up, because all of this will disappear quickly. It can't help but disappear, since it's no longer being produced. After all, Russia used to buy these things somewhere. Some things were produced in Ukraine, some in Poland, some in Belarus. Belarus, too, has now started to cut back on production. September 20th, 2025. I'm Tanya Karasova from Finberg.